Good evening, everyone. My name is Audrey Maldonado, and I'm very pleased to share my project with you tonight. Ligeia is a content-based recommender for books. Before we get too involved in talking about my project, let me introduce myself. I'm from upstate New York. My bachelor's degree is in European Studies. After that, I served in the Navy as an electrician's mate. And then I went on to earn a master's degree in library and information science, and I became a school librarian, which has been my job for the past 5 years. Now, I like to think of Ligeia as a virtual librarian, and you may ask, why do we need a virtual librarian? People have strong feelings about what makes a good book. Sometimes those preferences can feel a little private, and not all readers choose to seek assistance from a person. How can booksellers and libraries help individual readers quickly find books that they love? Tools like the one I've built might help. My web application is named Ligeia Reads as a nod to Edgar Allan Poe's Gothic tales, and it caters specifically to horror fans. It uses natural language processing, sometimes referred to as NLP, to make book recommendations based on a reader's tastes. We'll follow the experience of 3 readers as they test out my system's recommendations. Charlotte wants something like a slasher film in book form. Madeline wants something a little bit more haunting and eerie to read, and Gavin is looking for a book that is mind-bending and unsettling. He wants something that challenges him to think deeply about society. As an overview, I started out with a data set containing information from about 50,000 Kindle titles. After filtering strategies informed by a previous project, I narrowed that generalized list down to just over 2,000 horror books. This is where Ligeia, the virtual librarian, will come in to offer book recommendations. Reader's Advisory is a part of librarianship that is near to my heart, so I think it's important to put empowering tools directly in the hands of readers. Here's a closer look at how Ligeia works. I use TF-IDF to create a numerical representation of the words in the author, title, and description fields, and then I pass that on to the web application. Here's where the reader comes in to pick a few thought-provoking words. That is passed on to a Flask application, which uses cosine similarity to create a list of available books that align closely with the reader's chosen words. Finally, the book recommendations are then passed back to the reader. My design goal here was to decrease friction for the reader by providing an interface that's playful and does not force readers to describe what they want, which can be more difficult than it seems. Readers often have a hard time verbalizing the kind of book that they're looking for. Again, some of these key descriptive words were taken from a previous project on classifying horror authors and vectorizing full text, and others I added based on my knowledge of the kinds of language used in various subgenres of horror. So let's go ahead and choose 3 words: blood, gore, and monster. Those happen to be the words Charlotte chose, and we'll see her recommendations on the next slide. Charlotte and Madeline, 2 of our hypothetical readers, were pleased with their recommendations. Charlotte got zombie thrillers and gores and post-apocalyptic mayhem. Madeline got stories that were infused with magic and lore and even a touch of paranormal romance. Gavin's recommendations were a mixed bag, though. He felt limited by the word choices presented to him. He might be interested in the first 2 books recommended here, but he dismissed the third upon seeing that it is a children's book. Errors like this would be avoided with a filter based upon interest level classification, which I didn't have access to in this data set. My next steps to enhance this reader's advisory tool would be to first enrich the data set with information about interest level. Every book vendor that I've worked with has that filtering option, and the data set that I used was limited in that way. Second, I would add a free-form text input field so readers can add ideas about the kinds of books they're looking for in their own words if they so choose. And thirdly, I would offer a ready-to-go read-alike suggestion for books the user has already enjoyed, and that would enhance a sense of personalization and discovery. Thank you for coming this evening, and at this point, I'm ready to answer any questions you might have.